What's going on, guys? This is the Plus Guys podcast. I'm here, your main host, Cody speaking, and the co-host, Bill. Today, we're going to be giving you some Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content. Every week, we're going to be trying doing this. So be patient with us. Be understanding. We're going to be giving you some fire content, some fire hot takes, Hopefully, we walk away from this. You come out with some feeling some, learn some gems, you got something out of it,
Yeah.
If I can be entertaining. Bill, talk about yourself. Who are you?
My name's Bill. I play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I make content.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, Bill's a guy who talks behind the mic for the Duel and Book rated videos. He gives us great.
What's going on YouTube?
Yeah. He does a production as well. He's very, very good at the cardboard game too. Tell him everything he knows.
What?
I'm like that guy that taught Karate Kid. I'm the Asian old dude, and Bill's like the little Karate Kid.
What? I don't know about this.
I tell him everything he knows.
I don't know about that.
I'm like his master and like his dad at the same time.
What?
But all jokes aside, Bill, what's your thoughts on the Konami Extravaganzas?
Well, it's a good way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! During this, COVID time. And, a lot of people don't have locals to go to because they're shut down during this time, or they just don't like to play on dueling book for some reason. So remote duels and the extravaganzas, they've been pretty nice.
Those of you who don't know, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Extravaganza is Konami's ways of hosting tournaments while people can be home. You see, have like a little camcorder over your head. It shows like your little like mat and your hands and stuff. You're basically like talking to your opponent through like a live camera feed.
Yep.
Yep. The one thing I dislike about it is the fact that your opponent could like see partially your hand. Also, like, you feel me, like certain cards that cannot be played in remote duel formats if they involve, swapping cards, doing weird stuff, with your hand. So, in deck.
Question.
So, like, cards like Exchange are banned, right?
Yeah, Exchange is banned. What about Geonator Transverser? Geonator?
There's another card. It's a continuous spell where your opponent can look at the top 3 cards of your deck and arrange them in any order. That's also banned.
Yeah.
So there's no way for them to do that without them seeing it too, because of the whole remote duel setup. So
yeah,
the format and the setup is a little weird for me. So I personally haven't participated in it, but I've noticed the prize support Konami's been giving. I think it's pretty cool. They give you a mat. They give you cards. I've seen they have things where like local stores, they give you OTS packs.
Yeah. And,
I think I saw a picture of someone getting a freaking Switch. I'm not sure if that was real or not.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah, like basically, it's the closest thing to an actual event, but it's not a real event though,
Yeah.
Honestly though, me personally speaking, I wouldn't partake in it, but I think whoever does, congrats to them. You're playing real people, right? They're not exclusive to the people in your neighborhood anymore. So it's kind of like Duel Book / EDO Pro in a sense, because it's basically you're playing anyone across the world, right? Anyone in the world could just hop into your remote duel setup and participate in your local tournament, right?
Yep.
So I do think that's going to help the competitive environment during this pandemic. What's your thoughts on the whole LCS and these PPG regionals, quote unquote?
Well, I really think the LCS are just amazing. Like, again, they have people from all around the world playing in them. I personally would put that over the PPG regional just because there's the European players, the people from overseas, and all that participating in the
Mm-hmm.
LCS,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people here probably don't want to travel right now to Florida of all places.
Mm-hmm.
And but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Florida is still a hotspot or not. I do remember back in the summertime, it was a hotspot. That was a lot of talk. The
yeah,
town. I'm not sure anymore though. You know, me personally speaking though, um, during this pandemic, I honestly don't want to get on a plane. Right?
true.
I don't want to get on a Greyhound. I don't want to get on the train to go across the country. Like, I don't want to travel like that. I'd rather keep my traveling at a minimum, right?
Hmm.
Just to eliminate the possibilities of coming in contact with someone who has COVID or any other diseases.
Yeah,
When you're traveling, you're exposing yourself. It's a gamble, right? It's always a gamble.
that's right.
I mean, recently, went Team Plus Guys went to a cash tournament 3v3 a couple weeks ago in Pennsylvania, right? Most of us stay in Jersey. We got one person who lives in New York. But we traveled out there. It was like an hour drive, hour and some change drive. Even at the venue we went to, it was pretty spacious. No one could touch your deck. You know,
Really?
basically we cut our own decks. So they tell us, our opponents tell us how we want our decks cut, right? You
Okay.
know, they asked us not to cut each other's decks, not to touch each other's hands for like a handshake or a fist bump or whatever. Like it was just keep contact at a minimum, right?
Okay,
So
I see.
like me traveling for that was a risk because it's like, yo, like I could come in contact with COVID possibly, right?
Right.
You know,
And that
and
was in New
even if
York,
you
you
was
said?
in Pennsylvania,
PA. Okay.
yeah. There's another cash tournament coming up in 2 weeks from now. That's a 100-man regional.
Oh boy.
That's a 100-man regional top eight cut cash payout to top eight, right?
Yeah.
And after that, there's another 3v3 tournament, cash tournament as well. So like, because I have such a passion for the game and I'm taking these risks, right?
Hmm.
At the same time though, the expenses are at a minimum. Like it's a very minimum expense to travel to Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
But to go to Florida for a PPG regional,
That's a lot.
I'm probably spending a couple of bucks for a hotel room for a couple of days. I'm spending a couple bucks for the flight down there. Expenses for the food and stuff.
Yeah.
Looking around $300. And is the payout going to be really worth it? So that's my attitude. That's my attitude for the PPG regionals. Not to knock anybody, because if it's people who live down there in Florida, right? If you live down there in Florida or Georgia, it probably won't be a big deal for you to go to these things because it's in your neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Anybody coming out of state, flying, whatever, like, hey man, best of luck to you.
Yeah. I mean, if you're down there, if I was down there, I would definitely go to them. But
Do you think LCS tops and PPG tops count?
yes.
Like, is it a credible credential?
Yes.
Would you compare them to a regional or ARG or a YCS? Like, how would you compare those type of tops? If someone were to say I top at LCS.
I would put an LCS top above a regional
Okay.
and pretty much on the same level as I put like ARGs and PPGs, but I feel like the LCS could be just a little bit more higher just because of the overseas players. There's a lot of good people that play this game overseas, some of the best players in the world. And to be
Mm-hmm.
in the same tournament with them and to top that tournament, that says something.
Mm. So it's if not a YCS credential, close to it is what you're saying.
I would put the YCS above the LCS, yeah.
Okay. It's not far from it.
No, not far.
Okay. How big would you want the LCS to be before you put the credentials next to each other then? Because the last LCS had like around like what 300 people or something for the 3v3.
Yes, a little bit over
So
that
like for like
probably.
regular single LCS, right? Like how many people would it need? Is it the people or is it just the environment? Like what is it missing for it to be like a YCS credential?
Hmm. Pretty much for it to be a YCS kind of thing, mm, you might have to get that in-person play, which you can't
Okay.
get, of course.
Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe when the pandemic is over, now Luxury will do their own like ARG little circuit series thing where they host venues across the country or whatever and start their own thing.
Yeah.
It's always a possibility. We never know. That's their decision to make. Honestly, with me personally speaking, I felt a little conflicted about this subject because it's like with me, um, I do think uh, regional tops get like a bad rep.
They do.
It's like oh top the regional, what's the big deal? And I understand why people say that because when you go to these states in America, right, and they're like Midwest, right, and there's like 200-man regionals, or you go to Hawaii and they got like 70-man regionals, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you won't really give respect to a regional top, right? Because it's only like 5 rounds, 6 rounds, and you go home, right? But when you go to freaking Jersey or New York or Pennsylvania and you got like 700 people in there,
Hmm.
800 people attendance, it's practically a freaking YCS,
Yeah.
you
Philly
know?
Philly regionals is like always 10 rounds.
Yeah, like Philly regionals are always 10 rounds and it goes to midnight. California regionals are fucking
Same. They
1,000 people.
There was a regional in Cali that got over 1,000 people, I believe.
Yeah, like so I do feel like, in certain circumstances, right, if you top the regional with 100 people and you top a regional with 50 people, those tops are not the same. Yeah, you get the little play mat and a box or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But I still hold it a different value, me personally speaking, right?
It's like there's different levels to the regionals. Like,
Yeah, there's different levels to it. So at the end of the day, right,
mhm,
most regionals I participated in have never been under 600.
mhm.
Like, I think there was like one regional went to where it was like 500, 400 people. And that was in like, I think it was the one we went to Connecticut or something. Or
Massachusetts,
what's that? Massachusetts? Yeah. That
it
was
was
that one
like
state we went to where it was like
300 or
like
400.
really small compared to what we usually do, right? Like 300, 400.
Yeah, around 3 or
Yeah,
400.
like that was like that was the first time I went to a region. I was like, damn, this shit is small. Like, what the fuck? Where's everybody?
Yeah.
That's when I realized how overpopulated our tri-state area is, right? The New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, like how overpopulated that tri-state area is. And whenever we get a freaking event, everybody just rushes to it.
Hmm.
Everybody rushes to it. It gets so congested,
How
right?
how many
So,
people were at Virginia when we went?
I think Virginia was pretty sizable too, but not as sizable as our regular regionals. I would say Virginia was probably like around 500 people, 500 to 600 people.
Yeah.
That was understandable because Virginia was getting people from all over, from Georgia. Like it was a decent amount of people from all over coming over there. But I did notice when we went to Virginia regionals, like just the way the hall the ballroom was set up, there was still more tables in the back that were empty, right? When
Yeah.
we go to Philly, Brooklyn, or Parsippany, there's never empty tables. Everything is filled up. I remember one time we went there and they actually tried to rent out another ballroom because they didn't want to send people home. You know,
They wanted
so
that money.
that's
They wanted that money.
Yeah, they definitely wanted that money. Even after this pandemic is over, I don't think we'll ever see that again, though.
Really?
Honestly, in my personal opinion, I think once this pandemic is over, I think we're not going to be as congested as we once used to be. I think the new norm will be more space and less people. I'm not sure how that's going to affect the business of things, right? I'm not sure how it's going to affect the business. People are probably going to make a lot less money. But I do think for quite a while, as we get back to the new norm, I do think that there'll be a lot more space in between players. Because before, we were all stacked up on each other, right?
Yeah, that was horrible.
And that's not going to be a thing anymore. I don't think that's going to be a thing anymore. I think there's going to be a lot more space. Now, not the venues, but the people who are renting the venues, right? The tournament owners are going to take a hit in the pockets. But, it's going to come down to, do you want a tournament or do you not want a tournament? Maybe entry fees might go up. I don't know. But I don't think we're going to be as stacked up as we once were back in the day.
I don't think Brooklyn Regionals would follow that.
I don't think Brooklyn Region is gonna be a thing. Oh, that's gonna be a thing. Honestly, in my head, on how this world's going, I don't think if we do have regionals again, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we go back to quote unquote normal, I don't think we're gonna be stacked up on each other as we once were. And in hindsight, it wasn't really healthy. And I remember back in the day when I was going to regionals, afterwards, I would get sick here and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, it makes sense because, freaking everybody's on top of each other. We're passing freaking germs. I'm touching his deck. He's touching my deck. I'm shaking his hand. You know what I'm saying? I'm touching my face, eating food. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't conscious of it back then. But think about it now. Yeah, we didn't care. We didn't know. So, I don't think we're going to, when things start back up again, I don't think we're going to be doing the shit we're doing before. I definitely don't think we are.
I feel like I feel like the very first event that gets announced when this event is over is gonna be packed. Like the highest number of people. Everyone's just gonna go there. Like if they announce the LCS, everyone's going there.
There's definitely going to be a cap. There's definitely going to be a cap on attendance. Definitely going to be a cap. I do agree with you, though. The first event we get, we're going to get a lot of people going. Not as much as it used to be, but there's going to be a lot of people there, though. But I definitely think they're going to have a cap on attendance. I do not believe we're going to have, 1,500 people in one room stacked up on each other. I don't think when people are playing the feature matches, you're going to have a whole crowd of people stacked up on each other watching the feature match. Or watching a random table that's still going as we wait for the round to start. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I miss those.
I think social distancing will be a thing. I definitely think social distancing will be implemented still for the next 3 to 5 years.
Wow. Maybe.
Until the world goes back to quote unquote normal. Mm-hmm. That's just my stance on things. It's like honestly speaking, because I'm going to these cash tournaments out of state, and we have 30 people in one room, 30 to 40 people in one room, right? And 2 weeks from now, I'm going to the 100-man regional cash tournament, right? So I'm going to get a first-hand experience on what's going to come soon and the new norm, right? Because again, if they are allowing people to stack up with each other like that, then, maybe I'm wrong. If they don't, then, hey. But, that is definitely going to be interesting to see. And even now, I'm trying to get myself prepared for the upcoming events because the last one Team Plus guys had won it, and that was a little crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Only because of the fact that it was our first time, me, Peter, and Will in a 3v3, right?
Yeah.
Because I have my own personal experience from previous 3v3 tournaments, right? But I've never played with Will and Peter. And, fortunately speaking, we were just a good team. We were a good mash, so it didn't take much for us to have that chemistry.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. But, On to another subject though. What's your thoughts on the spreadsheet, right? That's being passed around and sold.
Man,
Like, are you familiar with the story? Because I can give you the breakdown on that.
you're talking
For
about
the viewers who don't know, there's a person named Nesh. That's his dueling book name. His actual name is Antonio Papa, I believe. He made a spreadsheet for virtual worlds, right? And it's like 48 combos with like explanations and stuff on how to play out your hands, and there's like a little section where they give you like basic homework. They put you in like a little situation and they ask you how to solve it. I also heard that he does some coaching for you too on the side. I'm not sure if that's a part of the package for the $50 or something extra, but the whole premise is if you want information for a particular deck, right, you gotta pay $50 for it. And the investment you're making is that you're purchasing off of someone who's not, if not the most informed on that specific archetype, he is one of the most informed on it. So what's your thoughts on that, Bill?
I don't like it.
And why did you like it?
I feel like if you want to learn a deck, you should pick it up and play it. If you don't have time to pick it up and play it, then don't play it. I feel like if you want to get better with a deck, you have to change how you're playing it or change the way you're practicing. I just feel like if you really want to get good at a deck, you can pick it up and learn it yourself, front and back, without needing someone assistance or someone to make a spreadsheet about all the combos you can do and you having to pay $50.
Mm.
I feel like there's enough information or whatever out there where you could just find someone and be like, hey, they're doing something that I've never seen before. I could try that in my playtesting or whatever.
Mm.
I feel like he just kind of did that to see if it might make money, and I'm sure it is. But yeah, I just don't really like it.
Me personally, for starters, I think buying a spreadsheet for combos or whatever archetype, right,
Hmm.
is the same as just going on freaking YouTube or going on Facebook groups and
Exactly.
looking up some deck lists and taking it card for card and just buying the cards and building a deck, right?
Yes.
I think it's the same thing, but now imagine doing that but paying $50 for it, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, right, the deck list is their interpretation of how to pile a deck, right? Because it's like, let's use for example, right? Like I remember back in the day when Sky Strikers was like, the best deck of the format or one of the best decks of the format, right?
Of the year.
I seen yeah, for quite a while when it had its run, I remember I saw people playing Power Desires, right?
Right.
I wasn't playing Power Desires when we have triple engage. I'm not banishing engage, right? That was my thing. I'm not playing triple Power Desires, like, or two desires. Like, I just thought that was crazy, right? I seen people play freaking Mystic Mind in their builds, or There Can Be One, or Summon Limits, right? I was just like, I'm not playing Floodgates. That's too slow. Like, I'm not doing that, right?
Right.
I seen people play multi-rolls and triple area zeros. I'm just like, again, I'm not doing that. I'm playing 2-2, like there's everyone's way of playing a particular deck, right? And their way might work for them and it also might work for me, but it also might not work for me, right?
Hmm.
Like, I might not like the way they play that deck. I might not like the way they built that deck. So copying and pasting in someone else's work could work for me and also cannot work for me. Now, my second point is to just bring this whole, analogy is the fact that those combos work for that particular style of play, which is I'm gonna just spit out a VFD. Who is to say virtual worlds most optimal way of piloting is spitting out a VFD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say he's right? Why is there not another way of playing the deck? Why is there not another way of piloting and building that deck? Why is it just that way? I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just asking, why am I believing he is the sole know-it-all of all for that deck? Because that's what it means when I buy $3 off of him. There is no other way.
That's right.
Is the answer. That's right. You know? And that's going to be, and when you start doing that, right, that's going to be a new norm. You're going to have people who go around saying, well, fuck going on YouTube, or fuck going on Facebook groups, or shit, screw playtesting or reading cards. I'm going to just buy this $3 subscription for this guy's spreadsheet for every new deck now. He's going to do the work for me because he knows it all, right?
But
and how mad you're going to be when you go to the event and you use the spreadsheet, you follow all the combos, and you're getting washed.
Or when you buy the spreadsheet and you're in a match and you forget one of the combos, or you misplay, or you forget something. You forget the
timing. You can't pull your phone out in a real event. Maybe on Dueling Book tournaments, right? You might be able to do that, have a little spreadsheet in a pop-up window and just scan through it, looking for the hand that you have, right? And saying, what the hell is the combo for this one, right? And then you do the combo, right? But in live events, you gotta actually know your deck. Mm-hmm. I know it. If you don't know it, you're gonna get punished, and you're gonna start misplaying. You know, and I just hope the people who are buying it understand what they're doing, because the people who are selling it are not going to give you a disclaimer. Right? And then what happens when someone else, like, perfect example, right? Shu Ping. Everybody said when Rockets came out, they were trash. It's not good. Works for the OCG, but doesn't work for the TCG. Right? So imagine if someone before Shu Ping like broke the deck and solved it. Imagine someone sold a spreadsheet for the combos, and the combos are pretty much mediocre, right? And then you spent $50 for the spreadsheet, and then Shu Ping comes, and he breaks the deck and solves it, and you see him do these crazy boards. And you're like, well, what the hell? I just spent $50 for this freaking spreadsheet. His combos are way better. Like, you're gonna feel robbed and cheated, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm just saying, like, I do think that, you know, people need to be very mindful, because, mind you, I'm not a combo player. I could play combo, but in my heart and soul, I'm not a combo player. I'm a control player. But I did start this game playing combo. And things I learned about playing combo is combo decks are not stagnant. They're always evolving. There's always a new combo, right? When new sets come out, when new things get discovered, there's always a new combo. I remember when freaking Virtual first came out, everybody was rushing to that rank 3 monster that negates a monster effect and draw a card, right?
Yeah.
And you got people playing Fortune Tuner, right, as a way to get into Zeus. And you got people playing the rank 3 guy that says, I'm undefended by card effects. I can attach 2 materials, can't be stripped by battle for the rest of this turn, right? Like, there's always new implementations that gets added to the decks for combo. Like, there's always that one guy that just says, hey, why don't we play this card, you know? So with that being said, like, you got to be very mindful about buying these spreadsheets from people, you know? And if you are going to buy them and you don't care about the risks, then I hope you get a maximum return on your investment, because you're definitely making an investment when you buy these things. If you spend $50 for a combo sheet, you better be making at least $50 back. And tournaments or whatever.
And another thing, the deck could just die.
And that's another thing too. The ban list, because the ban list is around the corner too. The ban list is definitely around the corner.
Literally next month.
If they hit Chao Feng or VFD, right? Mm-hmm. What happens then?
combo sheet is trash.
If Konami prints a whole new hand trap that says virtuals can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Just like a direct counter to the deck, right? Like, what happens then? What happens when they put a hand trap out that says discard this card, your opponent cannot send cards from the deck to the grave for the rest of his turn.
Oof.
Excuse me. That could be a thing. So, when I first heard about the whole spreadsheet stuff, I really reserved my comments and my opinions from like the Facebook groups and stuff.
Yeah.
I laughed at a couple of posts and comments about them because I thought it was kind of funny, something that other people were saying. But honestly, like my actual opinion on it, I didn't really put my 2 cents into it because at the end of the day, I wanted to see what it was about and the direction it was going. I spoke to people who purchased it or were given it, whatever, and they gave me pretty much a good idea of what it is. And, because I like to do my research before giving the opinion on certain things, right? Especially when it comes to like someone's hustle. Because at the end of the day, this is his hustle, right? And my issue wasn't him particularly. It was just the concept of the whole thing. Like, this is the direction this community is going. Because in other card games like Dragon Ball Super, for example, they have a paywall for information pertaining to like, competitive play, which is deck profiles,
Oh man.
staple cards that are good for the format, just anything that helps competitive players get a competitive edge. I've noticed that the Dragon Ball Super community usually puts a paywall behind it, right? The Yu-Gi-Oh community, in some facets, have paywalls like for coaching and stuff, but overall, if you want to find a deck profile video or a combo tutorial video on a new deck or just an old or whatever, right? You can just go on YouTube.
There's YouTube. There's Facebook. Yu-Gi-Oh groups.
Yeah, the information is pretty free. Also, you can just go on Dueling Book. Mm-hmm. And Dueling Book started the whole solo mode. So now you can literally build a deck, go on solo mode, play test some hands. That's been very helpful for me. I'll tell you that. That helped me a lot when it comes to learning new decks. Because when you go on Dueling Book rated, or just set up a little matchup with your friends or whatever, right? There's a lot of misplays happening.
Yeah.
A lot of illegal plays happening because you don't know what your cards do and you don't know how to correctly use your cards in the right sequences, right? With solo mode, it makes it so easy to learn them. So, I was very appreciative when Dueling Book started doing that.
That's good.
But I think I said enough on the whole spreadsheet topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
I want to talk about one last thing before we wrap it up, right? Because I don't want this podcast to be like a whole hour for our first video, right?
All right.
I do want to talk about it. I want the viewer, the listener, whatever, to walk away with with at least some gems, right? So for people who are just starting to get into the game or just starting to get competitive or who've been playing for a while, but, trying to improve, right? Like, what are some things you think that could help them step their game up?
I think they should surround themselves with a good caliber of people, of duelists.
Okay.
That could be one of the things because it's kind of hard to do it on your own. But then if you find a group of people that can help you see things you don't see.
So would that be personally knowing people or like just going on Dueling Book, rated and grinding it out on the ladder?
Well, I was thinking more like personal, like maybe go to a locals, and you're new there, and you start meeting people and dueling people, and they take a liking to you, or you just start hanging out with them, and then they teach you some stuff. I don't know. That could be one thing.
Okay. Okay. I think personally speaking, I think from my personal experience, I think the best way to get better is your attitude on losing.
Yes.
Because, losing sucks, right? Like losing is like a horrible feeling, especially when you invest more of your time and your emotions into whatever you're doing, right? I think one of my biggest mistakes when I first started playing a game competitively was I put too much emotional stock in my results, right? Like I would not be happy if I did not go to an event and did well. Right? I think that was my biggest mistake because what ends up happening is, right, it does like I'm so focused on winning, I'm not focused on becoming a better player. At the end of the day, that's what you want, right? You want to be a better player. Like you're a better player, and by proxy, you do better, right? As a result, right? But I feel like a lot of the newer players or people been playing the game for a long time and haven't been doing well in it. I feel like they skip the part of getting better and focus too much on actually winning, right? So focusing on the improving part, right? You kind of take the stock out of the winning part, and by proxy, you actually step your game up because when you're actually focused and passionate about improving, you start to notice why you're losing. You focus more on your mistakes, right? You focus more on what makes the other opponent so good. Because I remember when I first started playing, once I stopped taking once I took that stock out of the winning and the results and more so on the improving aspect of the game, I started noticing the little things people were doing. I could understand what made them so good at the game, right? Their ability to read the situation and know how to pilot their combo deck through certain hand traps or through certain interruptions in the back row on the field or whatever, right? Or how control players, right? The really good control players knew how to take control of the game and influence the tempo of it, right? And force their opponents to play a certain way, right? And that's in a sense is why it's called control if you think about it, because you're controlling the game and you're controlling your opponent's play style, right? Once I started taking those things, I started imitating those things. That's when my game started stepping up, right? Because it's like once you pay focus to like the small interactions, like let's just say for example, right, when to hold a hand trap, when to use a hand trap in specific matchups or specific instances, or when to flip a floodgate or when not to flip a floodgate, or like or when to put maximum damage on board and focus on putting maximum damage on board rather than focusing on finishing your combo and getting hit with like a Nibiru or something, like, or knowing when to force out cards from your opponent. So basically by forcing out the cards, you make them activate at the least opportune situation so they don't get as many cards in the card trade-off, right? Like stuff like that. That's when I started improving my game. So I think one of the ways to improve is definitely your attitude. Like I think your attitude gets you a long way.
Losses happen, and yeah, they do suck. But just don't get mad. Don't get too upset because you lost.
Yeah, like if you lose a game, just ask the question: how did I lose? What did I fuck up at?
Was there?
What could I did better?
Yes.
Like, was it the card I was playing that wasn't necessarily good? Was it the card I could have been playing I could improve, or did I misplay in this situation? Like honestly speaking, I feel like if you're new and you're trying to get your game up, you should take notes in between games. Like just take a note pull your phone out, pull a notepad out, write out game one because of this. Write a little list of things of mistakes you made, right? Go over it later.
Also, even if you win a match, look back on that match and ask yourself, did you really play that right? Did you make any misplays?
That's also very important. Too many times I watch people and win a game and they think they're nice, but really that win wasn't because of them. I mean, yeah, they won the game, but it could be because of their deck. It could be because their opponent misplayed or their opponent was playing an inferior deck. You know, like there's just so many variables on why you won, right? And not all of them lead to the fact that you're actually good at the game. It could just be because of whatever it was, right? You could have been lucky. You know, there's been times where I bricked, set 5 back row pass. My opponent's turn comes around, and they had the blowout card. They had the Harpy Feather Duster, the Lightning Storm, the Eagly Match, whatever, right? The Twin Twisters, you know, the Denko Sekas. Like, I'm just sitting there like, oh, that's what I always wrote, you know?
Yep.
And, you know, and those situations, those unwinnable situations, I will still play it out because, you know, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what puts me back into the game? Like, what in my deck do I have that could put me back into this game, right? Or what can they do where I could potentially win this or come back into this game and have a chance of winning, right? Because in the day, even though you're losing, there's a possibility your opponent can mess up, right? They can get really greedy or cocky. Like, they can have double Denko Seka on board or whatever, right? Two monsters that just blow me out, and all of a sudden just link them off like an idiot, right? And I'm going to start flipping my back row up and start going off because there's an opportunity right there, you know? So, you know, I also think that don't scoop is a good mentality too. Play it out, you know? I know we have clocks and stuff, you know, and time rules and stuff, but in certain instances, I would play it out just because I feel like maybe I can clinch it, especially if it's game 3, right? Let's just say it's game 3. You have nothing to lose. Play it out.
Yep.
Play it out. If you lost game 1 and it's game 2, play it out. Don't scoop, play it out. See where it goes. You know? Maybe when you first initially saw your hand, you thought it was a brick, but later on in the duel, you realized, wait, I didn't brick. I could do this. You know?
Yeah.
Play it out. Play it out. All right, guys. I think this was a good first episode of the podcast. It's a good episode.
Yes, it was.
I'm Cody. This is Bill. Hope you guys enjoyed our first episode of our podcast. If you did, drop a comment. You know, hit that like button. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel. Come on, show us some love. You know what I mean? Show us some love. You know, share this video with your boys. You know, let them get in on it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to spread the truth around. You know?
Yeah.
I want to put everybody on game. You feel me? All right, guys, take it easy. See you till next time.
Peace.